All right, on today's episode of Python Papi, we're back inside our small contracts project. Let's have a look at what we're going to be going over today. And yesterday, if you recall, we went over the process of changing our minimum USD state into a constant, and we did it like this by using the assert message.value is going to be greater than or equal to minimum USD. And you can see we changed our variable to all capital letters, letting our contract know that we're going to be using this as a constant instead of a store or a state, and we removed the self decorator. So let's move on from here. Notice that now we are only using the constant state of our variable, which is designated by the all capital letters. Now this is what our small contract should look like. Let's move down so I can actually show you where we implemented it into our contract. And it should be here in the fun function. As you can see, we have our assert message.value is greater than or equal to minimum USD. And you can see that the funders and the funded to amount funded are still using the self decorators. That's because we're still using these as states or stores, however you want to call them. But the minimum USD is not. It's all capitalized, letting us know that we're not using it as a state, that we are using it as a constant. And you can see that it's a constant because it has all capital letters. So we can move on from there. Let's go down a little further so I can read some more. So the next thing we will look at is our price feed store. If we want it, we can change the price feed to a constant. Now, if we were always using the same price feed, however, this would assume that we were always going to use the price feed address that we used already, which is incorrect. Different chains have different price feed addresses that they use. So making this current version of our price feed a constant will keep us locked into only this chain, regardless if we wanted to use a different one or not. So we don't really want to make this a constant, but instead we want to make it an immutable. Now this is how we can change for our price feed, or this is how we can change our price feed from a store to an immutable. We would say price feed, which is still going to be public, and we're going to use the keyword immutable, and this is the parameter that we pass for the aggregator v3 interface, and this is the actual address here that we're going to use from the Sepolia chain. But keep in mind that immutables are like constants, so to specify that we are no longer using a store variable, we would write price feed with all capital letters to designate it as an immutable. So our price feed should look something like this. Let's move down a little bit. So you can see here we have our price feed, which is all capital letters, which is still going to be public, and we're designated it with the immutable keyword here, and then we have our parameter here of aggregator v3 interface. Now, if you notice that the immutables and the constants get the same respect, so they both get capitalized all the way through, the variables get capitalized all the way through, and we're going to drop the self decorators. So let's move down a little bit more so we actually got to that far. So also, just like the constants, we no longer need to use the self keyword with our immutable. This means that we will notify or modify our constructor method to use our new immutable price feed. This will look like this. Let's go down a little bit further. So it'd be a price feed equals aggregator v3 interface, price feed addresses. And this is how we would write it. So we'll no longer say self.price feed. As you can see, we dropped the self decorator or keyword, and we're using a price feed as an immutable. And we're designating that as an immutable by having all capital letters. So basically, that's what we went over today. And of course, I think we have like another day or two inside of this module, so we will pick it up tomorrow. But I will keep you posted every step of the way. For now, this is the Python Papi. You guys stay Gucci.